I can see very little prospect of anybody in Greater London standing much of a chance of surviving what would be the primary nuclear attack on London and on Westminster. Certainly, the heart of London would be totally destroyed. And the sort of weapons we're talking about are, 8 times as powerful as the bomb that was dropped in 1945, in August 1945, on Hiroshima in Japan. And so people directly caught up in the blast were just vaporized. There's nothing left of those people at all. It'd be a huge firestorm. Everything would burn up within a certain radius. It would depend exactly where the bomb was detonated. The higher up, the greater the area that would be destroyed, but the longer it would take to destroy it. So a bomb close to the Palace of Westminster would totally incinerate the immediate area. Greater London would then take longer to feel the effects and the effects of radioactivity. But in due course, that would spread everywhere, and not just over the United Kingdom, of course, but the prevailing winds in this country come from the west. So all those countries to the west of us, including Russia itself, would be receiving the radioactive wind which would sweep across the continent of Europe. And of course, we have nothing prepared for this. I mean, my wife and I live in the Shires near Oxford, and once a month there's a siren goes off at a particular time just to make sure the siren is still working. I think it's located on top of the town hall. I don't know. It's meant to reassure us that, we are alert. But of course, there's nothing else there. There's no place that you could go. There are no air raid shelters. Paradoxically, London and central London has a whole series of tunnels that have existed for some time. Communication tunnels surrounding Whitehall and the Buckingham Palace area. In theory, those people could slip down into those tunnels and they would be protected. But that will be reserved for the royals and for civil servants and, of course, the cabinet. As I say, the cabinet did have a bunker, but we got rid of that. So they would all slip underground under the Mall in London and try and run Britain from there. But ordinary people in that area would just be vaporized. It wouldn't exist any longer. But don't forget, we would be in a position to strike back because, and this is the beauty of our nuclear deterrent being submarine based, one nuclear armed submarine is continuously at sea. Nobody knows where it is. The captain of the sub has written instructions from the Prime Minister of the day. So at the moment, it would be Sir Keir Starmer. It will have been one of the first things he did on becoming Prime Minister, incidentally, would be to sign a letter putting Britain's nuclear deterrent together with NATO's nuclear deterrent, and in particular agreeing that the lead on the use of the nuclear deterrent should be given by the President of the United States, because that was Biden when Sir Keir came into office. And those written instructions are in a safe in one of the Vanguard submarines, and the signal would go out from London to the captain of the submarine saying, open the safe, read the letter, follow the instructions. So all of that would be done. And even if the whole of Greater London was a smoking, glowing nuclear morass, Russia could still be destroyed. Again, I would repeat that the really important thing to note is that it is our belief that the deterrent works. So there'd be very little actual planning as to what would happen. I think things would vary from country to country. So what would be at the back of Russia's mind would be that there would be a nuclear attack on the UK and on France. I don't think on the United States of America and clearly not on China. So France and the UK would be the countries in the nuclear firing line. Country like Germany, which has no nuclear weapons at all, or the Baltic states, which have no nuclear weapons, they rely on our nuclear weapons and France's nuclear weapons, and of course, most of all, on the massive arsenal of the United States of America. But as I say, Trump as president, he's a peacenik. He wants to make peace. And if he would to see that Western Europe was kind of finished and that NATO was finished, I don't think he would. That's at the heart of the Ukraine problem, that if he were to have a win or something that he could call a win in Ukraine, then he would turn his attention to this wider aim of reestablishing the geopolitical entity that was the Soviet Union. I mean, Putin isn't a communist, whatever that means, but he is a KGB person. He thinks like a KGB person. He acts like a KGB person. And his skill set is that of a KGB officer. Threats backed up by violence to get his name. But he's also a coward, and he's not suicidal. So all these things could be prevented if we were preparing properly for them. And as I say, we're not. We're not preparing properly for them in the United Kingdom. We don't have an Iron Dome defense system against Russian missiles. We're not thinking clearly about this. And the same is true for all other West European NATO states. All of them should be investing in anti-missile systems. All of them should be realizing that the opening gambits in Putin's mad, expansionist, revisionist policy wants to tear up the map of Europe and redraw it in Russia's interest, that the most important thing to do is to prepare for it. If you prepare for it, it's less likely to happen. If you don't prepare for it, you're basically opening your front door and handing Putin the key, and he will take it. He will take it.